So we are talking about the Viking movie, Viking Legacy, directed by Tom Barker. Now, I would class this as historic fantasy, and by fantasy I don't mean it's got dragons and things like that, but it's just a kind of a made-up tale, but based in a historic time. So, the story here focuses on a small group of Vikings as they are pursuing a princess who's been in hiding, basically, who has this in her possession a number of scrolls which will ultimately give whoever owns them kind of dominion over the rest of Europe. And then this kind of like deserter kind of Viking guy who's decided he's going to defend this princess and kind of be an outcast, and these guys are going to go on the run, and the Viking horde is after them, and that's pretty much your movie. So it's more or less a kind of a kind of a sword and sandal kind of chase movie in a way. So it's pretty low budget, to be honest with you. There's kind of quite a lot of kind of obvious sort of green screen here. There's a couple of okay kind of fight sequences here and there, and I think some of the characters here are fairly well cast. The Vikings themselves, I would say that the Viking King and the right hand man I would have switched around, to be quite honest with you. But pretty much they kind of look the part somewhat, and there's some quite nice photography in regards to some of the kind of the external shots and things like that. But overall, I've got to be honest with you, this film was somewhat disappointing. It's so kind of just humdrum and kind of low budget. It just feels like someone's videoed a kind of a LARP session, and that's pretty much what you're watching. I have to say the acting, for the most part, whilst not terrible, it really wasn't that, that didn't kind of pull you in, didn't feel particularly natural, particularly from the kind of the male heroic lead character called Sven. Didn't feel he was particularly strong, and he's kind of one of the main sort of characters here. And also, it's not a particularly historically accurate portrayal of the Vikings, all of whom have like British accents and stuff, so stuff like that. It's obviously just meant for just a bit of a kind of a Viking violent medieval yarn, basically, and that's pretty much all it's kind of trying to be. But it really isn't all that interesting. It's the battles and stuff don't feel particularly well shot. There's some very obvious use of kind of green screen and stuff here, and the characters don't feel particularly fleshed out or interesting. So overall, I have to say this was a bit of a missed opportunity on this one. I was kind of looking forward to this one. I'd seen it advertised for some time, so I was a little disappointed. It just seemed so humdrum, really. So overall, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it?